Özgehan Uştuk.
Yes. That's me.
And of course, our own Amanda Lanier is here as well too. So if you're looking to get some drama in your language class, this is the one. So take it away.
So we have new technology, so we're going to get comfortable with our new microphones here, yes. So I wanted to start out by explaining where this presentation came from and how I ended up twisting Özgehan's arm to get him to do this. So I have a background in theater. My undergrad is in theater. And when I was teaching English overseas, very quickly people came to me and said, can you also direct theater in English? This was in the Czech Republic. And so I ended up directing workshops, and then we did a full production, and so some one-acts and things like that, where it was more like what you think of as traditional plays, as really putting on a production. That's how far it got, but also a lot of just workshopping, just working with ways of using drama techniques and drama games in sort of the general course of your language teaching. And then the other thing is that I've noticed is that my background in theater has really influenced the way that I handle a classroom all the time, whether I'm calling it drama or not. It really has played a big role in the way that I view what should be happening in a classroom and the ways that people interact and how important it is to have the right environment for that. And so we often here in these professional development sessions do a lot of talking about theory, or we'll do something very specific, but we don't necessarily get you up and moving around. And so I want to warn you, so you're ready. In a few minutes, you're going to be on your feet, and you're going to stay on your feet for a while. But it's not going to be all games. You'll see how it turns into work. That often when we have a lot of theater training, we don't talk about playing and games. We move into talking about work and the serious play of it. All right. So now, Özgehan also has a strong background in theater, and then also that connection between theater and language teaching. So tell us about what you have been doing.
So when I was studying at the university, at my undergrad, to be an English language teacher, I was not a good student. I was the one who was spending the nights doing rehearsals, skipping the classes because I had a performance back then. So I had this theater thing in me all the time. Then after my undergrad, I decided, no, teaching is not the thing for me, I think. Then I started studying theater. I had a master's degree in it, but then I thought theater is not something that you can eat. And I also learned that I also like teaching. So I combined those. Some people say this shift is because I am a Gemini, but I don't agree with them. I don't agree with them. So I found a way to combine these two fields. So that kind of brought about a interesting fusion. Then in my master's in ELT, I also wanted to have a closer look at it. Then I started studying process drama and also theater and education. And I also worked as a drama leader. That's how we call them in my part of the world, at least. As a drama leader in different classes. And I also used drama to teach English as a foreign language as well. That's what we call drama as a tool. And I also thought drama as an aim. So drama as a separate subject. So that's my background. I'm going to be the catalyzer part of today, and we are going to start moving, and we will know each other even better.
Yeah, and so my main gig is in the Master's in Foreign Language Teaching, which is online, so I don't get to be in the classroom very much. But my part here, don't read that now. You can read it when we send you the PowerPoint. My part is that I wanted to bring up what it is that you think of when we talk about drama, and then I'm also going to connect it to what we're trying to do in general with communicative competence. And so it fits into the same objectives that you would be doing anyway. So adding drama, incorporating drama, doesn't mean that you had this extra fun little piece of something that you're adding in that's going to take away time from the real learning. All right? It's entirely integrated with that, entirely going to support your learning objectives. So, but let's ask. So when you've heard us talk a little bit about how we use drama and what we think of as drama. So when you came in today, what did you think? drama in the classroom would mean?
I missed what you said for the intro. I apologize.
I'm going to talk anyway.
That smells great. I was going to say I did like a theater club. I do this because I'm not a dramaturge. But,
okay.
And we did lots of like role playing with students.
Okay.
And then what did we do? I know we would take like famous stories from the Arab world, like the Juha stories, and have them try to act it out a little bit.
Okay.
So it was like
Okay.
bringing stories to life.
So improvising or scripting stories based on those stories?
Yes.
Both?
Both.
Improvising and scripting sometimes?
Both, yes.
Okay. Some rehearsal, some totally spontaneous. Okay. So role plays, we're making drama from a story that's already written. What else? Sometimes scripted, sometimes improv. What else?
In the beginning, basic language classes, I think as a teacher, you have this performative aspect of, filling things in with non-linguistic means, with gestures and mimics, and just also keeping everything going so that there's not crickets and silence. And so I think each class is almost like a little theater piece itself,
Yeah.
and I think it's very performative and engaging, but it's physical, right? I think teaching, especially first years in the language, is pretty physical, I think, so.
It doesn't have to be. I would say it ought to be.
Yeah.
But quite often we don't teach it like that,
Right,
or we're
yeah.
afraid to teach it like that. So we have a range of different things that might be considered drama and that could be used in the language classroom. And keep in mind, there's a great tradition of drama in education. And then, so you have drama in education, and then you have drama in education as applied to foreign language learning or second language learning. And so as we will see later, there's a whole spectrum to this. There's a range of things, and process drama is really at one end of that, and we're going to show you what that looks like. All right, so if we're trying to teach for proficiency, we're trying to promote communicative competence. And what do we really mean by that? So it doesn't mean that we're working on knowledge of grammar, vocabulary, and phonology. We know that. Most of us, I think, have gotten that message that this is not what we're here to do in the language classroom. But really how to leave that behind and what we can use instead is a little more vague. But we want to teach communicative competence. And you want what you can produce in real time and fluent, intelligible, interactive, and contextually appropriate speech. And that you have strategies, you have coping strategies. So if you're speaking spontaneously, it is meaningful within a context that in this case we're imagining, we're creating that context for ourselves. And that through doing that, your speech it's motivated and you see what happens as it would be in the real world, that you are using every resource at your command to communicate, and that you're adaptive and you're capable of dealing with different situations. So there are lots of speaking activities that we might use in the classroom that overlap with what we would call drama. So even a picture description, you can act out the pictures, role plays, presentations, discussions, and debates. And I have my soapboxes, my things that I'm always saying, no, don't do a role play that way. Don't do a role play and say, you are the waiter and you are the customer, now go. That's not a role play. Okay, we call that a role play sometimes. And usually it works because we can imagine that particular scenario pretty well. But why? What do they really need to happen in that situation? You need to give it some meaning. So it's not just memorized dialogues. It's not just a who giving a role. You want to make sure that you're thinking about everybody who's engaged, so not just the people who are up front or not just the individuals who are playing. But if we're going to do interpersonal speaking well, it's got to be spontaneous. It needs to be two-way. It needs to allow for flexibility. It needs to allow problem solving and negotiation for meaning, okay? And the reason that this is up here, I know it's super wordy, but this is 40 years old, okay? This description, this explanation of the problem is 40 years old. That accuracy is necessary, but unless at least equal weight can be given to fluency, no real communication takes place at all. It requires that the teacher relinquish many of his traditional roles and adopt others. So from being controller, he must become facilitator, or catalyzer is the term that you use, or leader, but not necessarily this manager of what happens. Unfamiliar activities, but the activities would be motivating in themselves. so that learner attention is deflected from worry about linguistic form to absorption in the successful completion of the activity. And in this way, communicative functions arise naturally from the activity. They're not imposed from without. So this is mainly putting this forward 40 years ago. We still don't know how to do it very well. All right? And process drama is one of the ways that you can really get at that and give very meaningful communication, very motivated communication. And the other point to make, though, is that just now we've been talking about interpersonal speaking, but this is not only for speaking at all. That as this unfolds, as you will see, yes, speaking is a part of it, interpersonal speaking is a part of it, but all of these other skills are involved as well. So if you need a little bit of a refresher or a reference for the proficiency guidelines, performance descriptors, the can-do statements, I'll go back and add the comparable TESOL statements if you want, the Common European Framework of Reference. All of this overlaps. But the idea is that you are going to be able to integrate all of these skills and integrate them meaningfully for related purposes. Okay.
Okay.
Handing it over.
Now, no. It's just a little warmer. Okay? But then maybe before that, I just will check. Yeah, even before that. Okay.
Okay.
I would like you to stand up.
This is the part where the chairs go away for a while.
No, but not for now.
No, just move to the front.
Just stand up.
Okay.
Just stand up and close your eyes. That is kind of a warmer that helped my students before to concentrate, you know. And I think it will also kind of will help for you to concentrate on the rest of the session. It is called feeling yourself with yourself. What does it mean? We'll see. I just want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to side coach you, and just listen to what I'm saying, and try to do this, okay? So first of all, try to feel your feet. Concentrate on it. Try to feel your feet with your feet. Try to feel the air between your shoes and your feet. Now, feel your shoulders, your shoulder blades. Feel how your shoulders are hanged to your neck. Now go back. Feel your socks on your ankle. Feel the air around your fingers. Feel the tip of your index finger. Feel the top of your hat with the top of your head. Feel your spine with your spine. Stomach with your stomach. Now open your eyes. Now I think that you realize this exists. We can start working on it. Please have a seat. I'm going to continue with a language game that is called gibberish. You know what it is? Gibberish is a very complicated language that I can tell. Gibberish is not only about the sounds. It's also about the subtext. It's also all the emotions in it. So, what is gibberish? For example, Tomi kata ti yo ti tu yona tu yona tu yona tu tia hatu go nama tia ta ta so nama si ando go mi ta ya tu si ando nama wa tu tia so sto nama ta tu no tu tia so sto nama da aha Tachonzo nama, I didn't know that you spoke gibberish.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you. So you see, we somehow communicated, okay? This gibberish activates everything that is necessary when we speak a language, in a language, but it doesn't activate one thing that we all are heavily dependent on, which are words. Except from words, you use everything to express your message, right? Now, what I want you to do is to experiment the sounds of gibberish. Okay, that is a very rich language. Just from where you are sitting, try to go around the crazy sounds of gibberish, okay? Try to explain what you are thinking right now in gibberish, in your own tempo. It's like you have like 15 seconds, then we go on, okay? Now I want to hear the gibberish chorus. Go on. Very good. It sounds very nice. Really proficient speakers. What you should be careful about is that it's not a repetitive language, okay? So it's not like ta 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 ta. Okay? So it's like experiment. Now, I want you to sit in diets. Okay? You can use the whole space. Find a partner, get your chair, and sit in diets facing each other. Okay? Go on.
So dyads?
Mm-hmm, diets.
Maybe someone you don't know as well?
Like in pairs, face to face.
Pairs?
Pair up.
You want to work with me? Sure. No, I'll take it.
So, everyone has a partner? Good. What you are going to have is that you are going to have an argument with your partner in gibberish. You really need to show your discontent. Okay? You really need to show your discontent. Show it. Go on. Okay, now, listen to me. I really hope that someday the world will start arguing that way, like with so many smiling faces. Maybe someday it may happen. Yeah. Now, what you are going to do is that one of the partner is going to get something done, okay, with the help of the other person. And when it's done, you switch the roles, okay? And you don't have to sit down now. It's just like you want your partner to do something for you, but you can only speak in gibberish.
And it will help if you decide what that something is.
Yeah,
before
sure.
you start talking, right?
You don't have to like go crazy and go upstairs and bring my coffee
I
mug
want you
and
to give me
not
your
like that.
coat. I need to borrow your umbrella.
Yeah, it's kind of.
You know, it can be very simple. I want you to get me some pizza.
Just decide which
simple.
one goes first, then go. Some people are successful.
That's what I say. She's so smart.
Good. Even in gibberish?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm better in gibberish.
Okay. Please have your seat when you are done.
That was so much more specific.
Yeah. Okay. I think now you see what I mean by a language game. Here you don't use words. Like words are, after all, just references, no? Just remember this very complicated linguistic lesson, right? They are just references. But for example, for me for a language speaker, the hardest part for me when I'm speaking in my foreign language is to express my emotions, to express or to get something done for me. But you see, I don't know, I think my gibberish is much more, it's much better than my English, because I can only focus on what is connecting this and this. What I want with all of my body, right? I don't really want. I don't want it with just your head, with just your intellect. With your intellect, but we think it only resides here. So that, for example, is a very good language game, and there are many nice variations. Just go on Google and search for it. For example, one example, you can translate gibberish into English in your classes. Okay, one person tries to express something, and the student can translate it. Or it can be, you can create some situations. You can give a setting. You can give a place and a space and time. So you can work on it. Just keep experimenting it. But as the name of this session is what is beyond plays and role plays, right? Roles and role plays. So now we are going to move a bit further.
And I wanted to say, at the end of the presentation, there's a link to Spolin Games online, and you can watch people do these kinds of games. You can watch them do the gibberish games. You can do the
variations
where you have two people speaking gibberish and the person in the middle is translating for them. But it's all about your paralinguistic communication.
So this is a very good scala, let's say. These scripted role plays are these old schools. Generally, if you are a teacher, and I worked as a teacher, and it was really hard for me when the administrator approached me and said, now we need to have a play to put on the stage. Like, as teachers, we sometimes need to take care of that. This scripted role plays, it is just one side of the pendulum. And on the other side, we have process drama. And in the middle, we have role plays that generally teachers use. There are sometimes like simulations, sometimes like scenarios. So it's like a scala, you know? Or you can use the language games. They are decontextualized, but with the subtext, it helps. And how can we classify them? We can classify them by focusing on the communication that they trigger, the type of communication. So for example, as we go to the process drama side, we see discourse is no more natural, whereas for the script role plays, it is like script. Whatever Shakespeare wrote, we are going to put it on stage, right? And roles, fixed. Hamlet is Hamlet from the very beginning to the end, but with the process drama, it is negotiable. Roles and identities are negotiable, and they evolve within the process as well. Task, for example, it's the teacher or director-oriented, right? If there is only drama in the scripted role plays, is if we have any drama queens there, right? A drama queen director. And group-oriented. Whatever created the meaning comes from the group, the participants, not from the leader. And for the closed, controlled ones, the focus is on accuracy. And with the process drama, we do not pay so much attention to that. We pay more attention on fluency. Yeah, so for example, as for the theater games, these might be a good start for you to implement, to start integrating into your classroom practice, to your teaching practice. So you can use some clowning, some listening, some name games. They are very nice, and pantomimes. So these are a bit theater-oriented games. But also, we have dear Viola Spolin. So for example, she has got some physical theater-based exercises that we can also use in language classes, like gibberish that we just did, or like, for example, sensory awareness we did just before that, right? And building short stories, and so on and so forth. These are procedures, but also I can say they are techniques. So, for example, sight coaching. When I give the instructions from the back of your head and you keep doing it, that is sight coaching, for example. Okay.
Right, so not standing in front of you and saying, you go here and you go here, but walking around and over your shoulder, try this. And so it's something that doesn't interrupt the communication that they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, this is something that you can read later.
So details, different kinds of activities that you can add, that you can incorporate.
And these five elements are the key constructs of a process drama. So what is the end of the pendulum? So if this is not crazy enough, what is the most crazy? In the process drama, we are going to build a story. It is a mode of learning, okay? And and the length of it is totally up to the group and also your curriculum, right? We have reality. But these elements make processes of language games and role plays, and they turn these games into a process drama if you somehow build the texture of a story. So, for example, pretext, you are going to see. Integral audience. I think it doesn't make any sense now, but you'll see. From collective role, the individual roles, we are going to revisit them. Episodic structure, dramatic tension, some kind of theater theory thing, and dramatic elsewhere. Then we are going to focus on that.
And the other quick point to make is that we're going to imagine a world, we're going to imagine a context, imagine people, imagine places, imagine problems. And we talked, so Anne brought up the point that I'm getting outside my comfort zone. This is not my comfort zone. And we're having to imagine, we're going somewhere else. But in fact, the more you do that, the more precisely you do that, the more completely you do that, you want to make it real. So you're bringing in reality, things that make sense, that are based in reality. You're elaborating them, you're lending them lots of details. And the more you expand that, the less you feel like you're out in this space of imagination and you're only playing. You want to bring in those details. So you'll see exactly how it can work, that the more realistically you think about the details, really the easier and more effective the game of it is. Okay? And a lot of these exercises that we're talking about are preparation for that. So you learn to imagine the where, you learn to imagine the who, you learn to add details to those things and to get more comfortable in your body.
Indeed. Yes, I would not recommend implementing drama on the very first lesson when you are meeting a group. It takes time. In time, you somehow crack it open, like the class, I mean, you know?
Maybe a warmer game.
Yes, like some icebreakers, but then you can move to a process drama and you're just going to see. But even before starting process drama, it's nice to activate your schema a little bit. For example, today, for this session, I prepared a process drama for you whose topic is kind of bothering me. So that's why I wanted to share it with you. The topic is about the refugees, the refugee problem that we are having. So we are going to share about it. We are going to reflect on the issue, and we will bring up some solutions for this problem. Okay? Now, can you stand up, please, and move the chairs to the edges so that we will have a space in between.
Are you ready to go into role?
No, not yet. After the. Yes. Now you will see some side coaching in action. What we are going to do is that we will mingle. Okay? We will mingle randomly all over the place, and also experiment, okay? Discover what is around in your own tempo. Don't forget breathing, that's essential. Okay, we'll need it. And I will give you some instructions, okay? I will give you a setting, and when I'm going to clap my hand, so you need to also pay attention to me. Okay, when I'm going to clap my hand, you are going to show me a photo of a person in this setting. Let's start with an easy one. Okay, start mingling. That's decontextualized. Start mingling. Now, when I'm going to clap my hand, you'll see me a photo of a person in a supermarket. In a supermarket, okay? When I clap my hand, keep going. Don't pay attention to me. When I clap my hand, you keep going. Then when I clap my hand, you will show the photo, okay? Supermarket. So I see some cashiers, I see some shoppers, some helpers, some people think if they forget something. Some people are thinking about how they are going to pay all this, right? It's an expensive world. Okay, now, you know how it is. Now you understand how it is. We are going to go to the next step. Now you all are refugees. Okay? You all are refugees. Now, go on, walk around, mingle, in your own tempo, in your own speed, not randomly, not like ducklings following each other. Okay, randomly. Now, the setting is city center. You are going to show me a photo of a refugee, keep going, don't stop, in a city center when I clap my hands. Good. Good. Go on. Go on. The next setting is a refugee camp. When I clap my hand, you are going to show me a refugee in a refugee camp. Very nice. Continue mingling. Now, I'm going to add something else. I will touch one of the shoulders, okay? I will pick a photo by touching the shoulder, okay? Then the person I touch, do not move, okay? That's not a Harry Potter world. Photos do not move here. Okay? Now, the next setting is in the border check. You are a refugee in the border check. Show me the photos. Can you have a look here? Please turn around. Look at this photo. Tell me what you see. Wrong papers? Confused. How do you think what do you think she is thinking?
Like, this is all I have.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing is
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other ideas?
I think she has a cell phone and she's asking for some information about her papers.
Wow.
She's trying to make sense of the things that she has in her hands.
Okay. I see a lot of confusion, right? Okay. Go on. The next setting is that you are going to show me a refugee on a boat.
You're going to kill us.
Yes, yes. That is a very bad issue, I know.
Counterclockwise.
Yeah. Yes, let me see the photos. Come here, have a look at this. Tell me what you see.
She's the last refugee who couldn't get into the boat.
Yeah? Yeah?
Sensitively, I'm sorry. Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I feel very emotionally conflicted about doing this, actually.
What else? What do you see?
Like you're embodying stereotypes?
A little, like how could I possibly try to get at this situation? But obviously, I mean, this is a PD workshop. You're trying to demonstrate for us, and it would be done in a more expanded context.
Right. But if you think about the situation that you want to understand it, and so if you only use your head, and you only use your intellect to understand what that experience might be, then you would always be distanced from it. But now you're having to put it in your body, and that's why it feels so uncomfortable. So it doesn't mean you're embodying a stereotype, but you're bringing it home to you in a way that might be a little bit painful.
Indeed. Good.
I could see.
Let's
If that
go
was
on.
surrounded with like discussion and kind of framing it
This
that
is
way.
why reflection is so important. Yeah.
I could see that.
And creating a space over time.
It also brings lots of self-discovery as well, that kind of processes. Let's go on. In the next photo, we will see a refugee in a migrant caravan.
A long line of people who are trying to cross the wheel.
A migrant caravan. Yes. Can you have a look at here? What we are going to do is now you are going to complete the photo. See what you see, and one by one attach yourself to the photo that we will have a group photo at the end. Okay? Feel free to go on anytime. Photos don't talk. Yeah, we have the journalist here, right? Okay, can I see the photo now? Good. Yeah, it's sad. It is sad. Next, go on. In the next photo, we are going to see your hometown during the war. Okay, just before you joined the caravan. All right? Yeah, yeah, the topic is heavy. People are heavier. Yeah. Now, you complete this photo. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. In the last photo, you are going to show me your hometown before the war. Okay? Go on. So how was it before the war, if you can remember it? After all, what happened? Yes. Yes, this photo. Show me the rest of this photo. Yeah, happy faces. Finally. Good. Thank you. Now what I want you to do is get your chairs and come closer. Come closer, please. Have a seat, like in a seminar form. Yeah. Just see the slides, and that's enough for me.
All right, we're ready for the meeting to begin.
There you go. Can you share this? Yes, like that. Welcome again. Welcome. There is the messages for you. Yeah, you just distribute it. Have your minute to go over it. Then we'll start the meeting. So, welcome again to Hatay. I'm Ali. I'm representing Foreign Ministry of Turkish Republic. And on behalf of our minister again, I would like to bid you welcome. And we are very grateful that you are here today. And I'm sure as experienced social workers, that you, as the members of this work initiative, you are going to help us and the refugees, the big population that we are having. I will just give you a very quick background about the problem that we are having here, and then you will continue about working it. And again, thank you for coming to Hatay. First of all, it's not a local problem. It's not only Turkey that we are having, but we have got many people in need, and all over the Europe, you can see the situation is dire. It is very problematic. But in Turkey, we are here now in Hatay. So it is on the border of Syria, on the border with Syria, and that's one of the cities with the biggest population of refugees in Turkey. And this is the graphic that shows the number of refugees in Turkey, and you can see the problem started in 2012, and now with the February 24th, we are having almost 3,700,000 people who are in need. Some of them are in refugee camps, some of them are in cities, some of them are still coming, they are on boats. And they keep coming, it's not over. These are the top 10 cities in Turkey, for example, that we have the highest population of refugees. And you can see Hatay is, in terms of density, it is the second. In some of the cities like Kilis, for example, now Kilis is 85% refugee, for example. But that is becoming a very big problem. And in terms of infrastructure, in terms of education, in terms of everything, Turkish people are having problems to cope with the situation. And that is why your existence here, your presence here is very valuable to us. Now, what I want you to do is to form the groups of, let's say, 3 people, and we are around 6 people. So tell me, as experienced social workers, tell me who you would like to interview to understand more about the situation in Hatay. Who would like to interview? Locals. People present in Hatay. So we cannot interview Esad, okay?
Teachers.
A teacher. A language teacher or primary school teacher?
Primary.
Yeah.
Mothers and
A mother. Okay. A doctor? Okay. A doctor or a nurse? A nurse? Okay. Who else? A child. Okay. A refugee child or a local child? Like a refugee child. Okay. And a local child as well. Okay. One more. The mayor of Hatay? Okay. Good. Now with your chairs, group up. Let's 3 people for each group. I'm mixing them, okay? You are a big group right now, okay? And you are two. Okay, like that. Good. Now, what I want you to do is that you are going to interview these people. You are going to write down interview questions. Write down what you want to ask to these people. Okay? It is, let's say that's a demo process drama, right? Like 3 questions are enough. And what you try to learn is what is happening in Hatay.
I'm already in Turkey, so I think you're. Oh, so it's
Like 3 questions are okay.
here how many refugee or like international refugee students have there been in school or in the classroom?
Yeah, what's the influence?
And also, maybe like
Should I just make this
big or share?
No, it's just right for you to write down. Later you'll do that.
Oh yeah. What problems?
Very quick 3 questions so that we can go on.
No. What problems do you expect? Like what issues? What difficulties?
It's a refugee child.
Is there a limit for the age of a child?
It's totally up to your imagination.
So you have to tell me. We could ask like it doesn't matter even if she has knows what difficulties are to be expected.
So do you have the questions?
Okay, what kind of problems do you?
What is
Or I would say like if she has had any refugee if you have
Now what I need now is one volunteer. From each group. One volunteer, pick a volunteer, and the volunteers raise their arms. Okay? One volunteer. Don't worry, it's not going to hurt. Okay.
So Maria can start.
One volunteer. Good. Good. Here, the volunteer is you. Okay? Just pick a volunteer, and I'm going to tell what is coming. Okay?
You're only planning your questions.
Sure.
So the volunteers are going to visit the neighbor group. Okay? So volunteers, stand up and go to another group and sit down, please. No, the group keeps the interview questions. It's just the volunteers are leaving the group.
Okay.
Who is coming here? Who is coming here? Yes. Who are you interviewing?
Primary school teachers.
A primary school teacher. Your primary school teacher has arrived.
Okay.
Okay? Now, do your interview and collect as much information as you can collect.
I have a feeling. Okay.
Okay? Go on.
What kind of challenges do you have? Do you want them writing?
Yes, please write down, note down, collect as much information as you can collect from that person.
When you go back to the other.
Is he gonna be this one or the same one with me?
Who are you interviewing? Who are you interviewing? For whom have you written some questions?
Every question for the person before that.
For the child, right? For the refugee child. So the refugee child is here. The visitor takes the other role.
In your own
If you need some pens, please raise your hands.
As you can imagine, in the past week, there have not been access diet are also facing those issues, and we are trying to make a healthy diet for them.
What are the biggest needs?
So I've tried to learn a few words.
Well, I would say we have to work on getting appropriate documentation.
And still we have people who are trying to get into the capital of Turkey, to Istanbul, unfortunately.
A little bit. We are not far from. We were.
They can't express their feelings.
Yes. Sum it up. Sum it up.
There are times when we have felt overwhelmed. We do everything we can, and we are trying to put all our resources, like make all of them available for all the families and their kids.
So, okay. May I have your attention? Dear SWORK initiative members, go back to your original groups and yeah, say goodbye to the person you interviewed and take a flip chart, okay? Take a flip chart and the crayons that you need. What I want you to do is that you are going to make us a poster or an infographic or list of ideas about the data that you collected. So what are your findings? Who do you interview? And what insights did you get from that person about the situation in Hatay? Okay, go on. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Please sum it up.
Yeah. So that would be the next step. We're really not going to have time to do the posters. I wish we did. Really?
I know. I planned it, but yeah. So
we're not, can we ask this? As you were doing this, okay, what were some of the things that you learned about the refugee situation in Hatay from your informant? So from the mother, from the mayor, from the teacher, what did you learn about the refugee situation?
just share.
Yeah, we learned that people really want to help them integrate into society and they do their best. They even learn their language so
Okay.
to help them.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
The teacher's struggling because you have to try new techniques, right? They're not working for the new refugee students. What else?
What about the refugee child? Yeah.
He doesn't go to school, and he doesn't know anyone here.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't know how many brothers or sisters does he have.
Good.
With him here, wow, or where they are. Okay.
Yeah. That's the
The
problem.
mayor, did we learn anything from the mayor? Okay. The mother?
Mother is not sure, for example, if the water they're drinking is clean or not.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So in an extended time, what I was planning to do was to make a walk around. Okay, so the posters are going to be on the walls, and the presenters can find more about their problems. Yeah.
I have children this age.
So
Yeah, okay.
we started with that. For example, what would be the variations? Maybe you remember this term that I used, episodic.
Yes.
So this was just one episode. So the variations, the follow-up variations would be, for example, a disaster, another disaster, an epidemic started. And I would ask students, like in groups again, to make a short video to teach children how to be healthy, how to keep their health, right? How to stay away from the disease. Next, we can also create, for example, with the recycled materials, okay? I want to include all the people. We want to include all the people as the ministry. What we ask from the SWORK initiative member is that create some inventions that would also include disabled people. And I can also make it like a project. You can apply for a project fund with a very simple template, let's say. Why aren't they smiling? So still, you see, it's like a story. You struggle, but it's not working. You struggle, but something happens. So that's how you keep the dramatic tension, and it can keep like days, sessions. A school crisis, I can ask them to build a dream class for refugees, for all the children in Hatay. Okay, so I can with a paper tape, I can draw a big classroom, and with the recycled materials, I can write now the whole group discussion, and the whole group discussions are very powerful. Create me a dream classroom. Then they will present this dream classroom and what their inventions in it. So for example, why aren't they smiling? Still, it's not working. I can give them this poster, the students. It's about the children's rights about, published by UNICEF, right? And then they can read, like, for example, it says, I have rights to play, I have right to have fun. And what I would ask from the students might be, create an event and create the flyer of this event and invite refugee people. And the next step, we can also role play this event. When we use role playing in process drama, we use it contextualized. And maybe a follow-up for later, I can ask the Parks Work Initiative members, now you are working here for 6 months, write one mail to your family and one mail to your boss, so that the students can also see the pragmatic differences in writing, right? So you can integrate some other skills as well. Yes, that you can also continue. That is like the same thing that we talked about.
I was going to talk about reflection, because we're saying if we're debriefing, the kind of debriefing that we did just a minute ago was to ask you what you learned, and you are still in role as social workers, telling us what you learned in your research.
Just pay attention how ready you were to keep your roles already. You were already in the illusion. So don't be afraid that it is not like acting out, okay?
And then, so from there, then you also reflect, we go from there and say, well, how did this activity feel to you? How did you feel about doing this? Did it make you uncomfortable? Why? What happened? What did you have to do? What were you thinking in your head while you were trying to do
What would you do next?
Right. And then you would think, okay, which linguistic forms did I need in order to make this happen? So if I had to change my speaking because now I'm talking to a child, and now I'm talking to an adult, and now I'm talking to the mayor, what changed really in the way that you were speaking, given that this was a different role? And it's specific, and it's contextualized, and it is real in a way that allows you to be more alert to context and how it affects your use of language.
What you experienced was just a blink in a long process drama session. But just imagine, that is the answer to the question, why should TESOL practitioners use this? So for example, you see there were many integrated skills, right? And that's how life is. You just don't do reading isolated or speaking isolated, right? And implicit, the big question, how do we move from explicit language teaching to implicit language use, like, or activate implicit knowledge? That is an answer for that, because there are lots of negotiations, and it is meaningful. The focus is on form. And you can also, if you want to keep your some old school things again in your English classroom, that's totally okay. You can make some assessments, for example, about the statistics. You can just create some true-false questions about comprehension check just after that. And you can spice it up and kind of tune it up for a language classroom as well. And it is interactive. Yeah, you can say that, I guess. And especially the photos were very beautiful. Affective filters. That was also in research, because you also use your body, and this is like the connection. This is the modern world, right? Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am, right? Is it the English version of that? We think that just because we think we exist. But what about that? This has got a memory, right? This has got experience as well. What you are experiencing as your whole body, including the language, including the target language.
The emotions come into it, and this comfortable space. We all want to create a conducive atmosphere for learning.
Yeah.
And you can use this. You have to be so alert to it.
Yeah. And empirical studies also show that. Anxiety, for example, it falls after drama interventions. And nonverbal. You use lots of paralanguage, like in gibberish, right? Some of you had no idea what gibberish is, but you communicate it. You get somebody do something for you. Critical. In process drama, you generally you generally touch to critical issues. Okay, so that's how you can also use it. So it's not like you don't go around and do anything that you want. You want to focus on some problems that the students actually having. Students in Turkey have got many questions about Syrian people now. So that is very important for them, to learn about them, to learn about what they are experiencing. So it's like also you answer to a social injustice. Mm-hmm. And assessment. For example, I like using portfolios for each process drama session that I implement. And in this portfolio, with this portfolio, it's kind of a good formative assessment type so that they can have a dossier. And I can also use language passports.
So it would be the list of questions, it would be the poster.
Indeed, indeed. And also lots of peer feedback. And yeah, for example, I can say, Cohen, I think also you can say there were lots of task-based language learning and language teaching there. So there were tasks because each episode is like a task there.
Mm-hmm. And things like it's real-world relevant.
Yeah.
Yes. The input scaffolds the language. So if this letter that you read gives you some of the language that you need in order to discuss the topic, if these materials give you some of the language you need, you plan that. The teacher has a way to do that in a way that's integrated with the overall drama, with the overall story.
Indeed. And the most popular use of it is in clear context. In US it is
CBI.
Yeah, content-based language learning, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when you teach history, for example. You can go to the American history, American Civil War, what was happening there, right? So, or for example, with a science class, you can visit a natural natural museum, right? Mm-hmm. Museums, and you can also go to another public places like libraries, specific places, theaters, so that you can also experiment. And also there is narrative, right? The point is the whole episodes, and they don't have to have a time order. They create a whole story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the same things. You want to say something about that?
Well, I just want to say there's a workshop that you can watch at the end if you follow the link, and you'll see that there's a great many levels of depth and complexity and weight to this. So one example is she's a wizard, and she asks the children to go and find her missing children. And so it's a story. It's not heavy. It's not a social issue that we're trying to solve in that. And yet the children can begin to ask questions. Well, we need magic to do that. So, okay, well, which magic do you need? Here's a magic stone. You can use it one time. What is your magic? And so it still creates an imagined world. They still are going to ask questions about the logic of that world. And then it expands. And you start to feel out where you have choices and where you need to make it specific and how to bring in the questions they're really asking. So you can watch these.
Go have a look at that. And the last word, what I love most about process drama is that the content always comes from learners. I had no idea that you would like to interview a mayor or a mother. I honestly didn't think about that. And your choice would also affect me later. So let's go back to the mayor. So what can mayor do about the epidemic? There and then I decide. This is something problematic that may make you feel a bit refrained to use this in your classroom, but go to the drama clubs. There are teachers like with drama clubs. As you become participant, you also learn how to integrate them into your own classrooms. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you.
Any questions, approach us.
Yeah, we'll be available to answer questions, and we'll send you the whole presentation. And then let's just back up and show you really quickly that you have these resources, and it's mostly, these are all drama. So if you want more specific about communicative competence, you can get that somewhere else. But this is about drama. And then these are particular books. So these are sort of the classic in language teaching. And then this more recent one, this is the Journal for General Education. This is specifically on process drama. And you'll see this one is process drama with second language.
It's like the base. Mm-hmm.
Right. Book. And so there are places you can go if you want to
Most
learn
of them are available in MSU Museum.
About it. Okay. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing.
Applause to you for participating.